Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. As you can tell from the title, today I am talking about my labor and delivery experience with my fourth child, baby girl Angelina. She is just the sweetest little munchkin ever. We are so happy. My older kids are happy. She's brought new happy life into the family. So yeah, I'm going to be telling you guys my experience the fourth time round. And it was a very positive one this time round. Very fast, positive, and yeah, so let's go ahead and start this video. So baby girl was, I don't have to say baby girl anymore. Angelina was exactly a week overdue. Before that, I was so anxious, thinking, oh, is it going to take forever? She's already overdue. I bet my labor's going to be long. With my other lot, the boys were around 6.5 hours, and my daughter Andani was 4.5 hours long. And I thought, okay, let's see how this time's going to go. They do say the more kids you have, the faster it goes. But I never believed it. And you never know, everyone's body's different. And I thought, nah, it's going to take hours. She's already late. She's already overdue. God knows what's going to happen. So anyways, coming up to my due day, I was bouncing on the yoga ball, the birthing ball. I was doing loads of dancing. I started walking a lot. Started eating pineapples. I started eating dates, and nothing was happening. But I was still doing bits and bobs to try and bring her along. And then my due day came, nothing. So then on the third, 3 days after my due date, I went in for my first sweep, which is you go in and your midwife inserts her fingers and she swipes the membranes. So she separates the sac from the cervix, and that can bring along the contractions and labor. And that works with my daughter, but I was already 2 centimeters dilated with my other daughter. By that night it happened, so I thought, okay, maybe it might happen with the first sweep this time around as well. So we went in, done the sweep. A few hours passed by. I didn't feel nothing. I didn't really feel anything. And when I had my sweep with my second child, I could straight away after half an hour notice something. And this time round, I didn't feel nothing. And I was like to George, oh, I bet you it's not going to work. If I haven't felt anything so far, this sweep is not going to work. And it didn't work. And then they're allowed to give you a second sweep 3 days after the last sweep. So I had my first sweep on the Monday, and then on the Thursday I had my second sweep. And so I went in on the Thursday. It was around 4 o'clock in the evening, and so my midwife, and she went in and she felt a difference this time around when she went in. I think my cervix was a little bit lower this time round. She was able to, as she says, hang on the cervix this time round. I know, TMI, but we're all mums here. So she was able to hang on to my cervix this time round, and it was a bit more softer than the first time. So she goes to me, hopefully with this second sweep, things might happen. And I was like, please God, let it happen. Because she was explaining to me the induction, if nothing happens. And I've never been induced in that way, with inserting a balloon inside you and waiting, sending you back home. I was like, I do not want to be induced. Hell no. No, like this second sweep needs to work. Like I was praying to God. Anyway, so she gave me the sweep and got in the car. About an hour later, I started feeling things a bit crampy, a lot more heavier down below. And I was like, oh, like I bet you it's going to happen. but I didn't want to get too excited just in case things didn't happen. But I was starting to feel things, and I started getting, my Braxton Hicks were becoming more frequent, a bit more painful and uncomfortable, but I was ignoring it, you know, I didn't want to get too excited. So these Braxton Hicks were not Braxton Hicks, they were proper contractions coming along, but they were very spaced out, like on and off throughout that whole day. So anyway, we went home, my mum was with the kids at home, so we went home, we got the kids ready, and we said, right, Mummy had the sweep, let's go for a long walk to the park. So we all went with my mum, the kids, the hubby, we all went to the park, had a nice evening stroll, and then after that we all went to a hair and beauty supplier that's near us, Chris and Sons, whoever knows Chris and Sons. So we went there, my mum wanted to buy hair dye, I wanted to buy some new nail tools. So we went there, walking about, and during this time I was quite uncomfortable. I was going along, but I was quite uncomfortable, you know, pains here and there, but I was ignoring it. So then after that we went home, sat for a bit, and then I cooked for everyone. We had pasta with like, it was spaghetti bolognese with chicken, breaded chicken breast on top, which was really delicious. So that was my last meal before popping her out. So yeah, I cooked for everyone, we sat down, and whilst I was eating, I was really uncomfortable at this stage. It was late in the evening. It was about 7ish, 8, around that time, about 8ish in the evening. To this point, I was getting a bit uncomfortable. I was like, my daughter can see that in my face. She's so clever, so clever. She goes, are you okay, Mummy? She goes, are you having contractions? I was like, yeah, here and there, but Mummy's okay. And then Alexi was asking, is the baby coming today? I was like, I really don't know. And they've been asking me for so many weeks, is the baby coming? Is the baby here yet? Like, so anyways, so that happened. We put the dishes away, we washed up, and then 2 of our friends came round, our neighbour's brother and brother-in-law came round to pick something up. They sat down, we had a chat in the garden. And again, to that point, I was still feeling the same. And then we're all joking about, because it was one of the boys' 30th birthday that night. They're like, imagine if she comes tonight. I was like, oh, I hope so, you know. And I was thinking to myself, maybe because the way I'm feeling, I'm not feeling 100%. But my pain tolerance is quite good. Like, I can deal with pain to a certain level, obviously, but I can deal with pain. I'm not one of them that panics a lot, or is like, oh, to the slightest pain. Like, I can deal with pain. So I was dealing with it. So then everyone went home, we all chilled. And then I started getting a bit too much. I go to my mum, I'm not feeling that great, you know. I'm feeling a lot more pain, a lot of cramping. And then she goes to me, do you want me to stay the night tonight, just in case? I go to her, I was thinking about it, and I go to her, do you know what, Mum, don't worry, go home. And if anything does happen, we'll call you. And I thought, do you know what? Probably my luck is not going to happen, so I sent her home. So then I went upstairs. George got the kids ready for bed. So he put them to bed. And then I went for my shower. I had a nice warm shower to try and ease the pain and just to feel relaxed. Obviously, I always have a shower in the evenings. I like to feel calm and warm before bed. And then I goes to George, I put my PJs on, I goes to him, do you know what, babe? I'm not going to sit and watch TV. I'm going straight to bed after my shower. He goes, all right then, babe. No worries, you go and relax and whatever. He was downstairs on the laptop, and I went to bed. As I started laying down, I started feeling really intense pains. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, from not feeling it so much to all of a sudden, after my shower, I don't know if it was the warm shower, it just, things got a lot more intense, like a lot more painful. I was like, I was getting up, moving whilst the contraction was happening. Once it left, I tried to lay back down again. I laid down for a couple of minutes, and then it came again. I was like, oh my God, I think it's actually happening. I think it's actually happening. So I tried my best to actually fall asleep, but I couldn't. I was so uncomfortable. I couldn't. So I came back downstairs and I goes to the hubby. Do you know what, babe? I think it's happening. So we sat downstairs, timing everything. And yeah, he goes, I think I need to call Triage. So we called Triage. I spoke to them. And she said, because it's your fourth baby, things can just all of a sudden happen. So we advise you to just come in, we'll check you. And so we did. We called my mum obviously first. So we were still at home waiting for mum to come. My dad dropped her off so she could save the kids. And then we called my sister-in-law so that she knows as well. So yeah, mum came, got all our stuff ready. We headed to Triage. They checked me. George couldn't come up with me. That's another thing with this stupid pandemic. He couldn't come with me, so he just took me to the door and said to him, whilst I'm like uncomfortable and in pain, sorry sir, you have to wait in your car and we'll call you once we think she's ready and you are allowed to come up. So I was like, bye babe. I was like so nervous as well. Like this has never happened, obviously. So he went off to the car. The midwife just took me upstairs. The midwife that took me upstairs was a bit miserable. Like she wasn't really talkative or anything, or even to try and make me feel comfortable. But anyway, so she took me upstairs where I would be checked by another midwife, which were lovely. Like my team were amazing. Like 3 of them were just lovely. So anyway, took me upstairs. She checked me. My pains were often, but when she checked me, I was only a centimetre dilated. Remember this, yeah? I was a centimetre dilated. And I think this was about 12:30-ish. 12:30, I think. I can't remember the times properly because I wasn't really looking at the time. I'll say 1 in the morning, 1 a.m. in the morning. So all of this, my sweep happened on Thursday. By the time we went to hospital, it was Friday, 1 a.m. And anyway, she checked me. I was only a centimetre dilated, but I had my pains coming. And she goes to me, do you want me to give you like another last sweep? Like she gave me a really good sweep. I goes to, up to you if you think it's gonna do anything. She goes, I'll give you a sweep. So she gave me one good sweep. A couple of minutes passed by. Oh my goodness. From what I was feeling, it went to like, say it was 9, it went to 15. This pain went to 15. I was like, oh my goodness. And because when she last checked me, I was only a centimetre dilated, she thought, oh, okay. She goes, we'll keep an eye on you for a few hours. We'll see how you get on. It's like she was saying, we'll see. If not, we'll send you back home. But anyway, they told me to call George to come up, and he did. As soon as he came up, yeah, like I said, my pains were becoming more intense and a bit more frequent. So for the first part, I was like still in my PJs, on the bed, on the floor. They gave me the bouncy ball. I was bouncing on that through the contractions. And then they had the bath ready for me, and I goes to George, tell the midwife, I feel like I'm ready to go in the bath. The midwife came in and she said to me, well, because you were only a centimetre dilated, you getting the water might delay you dilating. I goes, no, I don't care. I feel like I need to be in the water right now. So anyway, she let me go into the water. So I went in, it was so soothing. And then all of a sudden, things were becoming even more intense. Like I wasn't getting a break. For those who have been pregnant before, you get a contraction, you get a couple of minutes break, you get another contraction, a couple of minutes break. And then as you get closer to the end where you need to push, your contractions get closer together. So you don't really get a break towards the end. So your pains are like, you feel like you get like a minute break, then you have a next contraction. And then before you know it, it's time to push. So I was already feeling that. All of a sudden, I was feeling like I wasn't getting a break. The contractions were coming up one after the other quite quick. I didn't want gas in there. I didn't have gas in there with my last child. I didn't want it with this time round either. And they said to me, look, just take the gas in there. Because things were happening so fast, the way they were seeing me, they're like, take the gas in there as well. just to kind of help you. And I was like, oh, I hate the gas in there. So anyway, I was pulling on the gas in there. I only pulled a couple of times, and then I'd go to them, take it. I cannot stand it. And they started laughing. I just can't stand the gas in there. So yeah, they gave me the gas in there. And then I had a little cry. And I goes to George, I really hope this doesn't take long. The way I was thinking to myself, how am I going to last? Even though I've had the others before, naturally as well. The way I was feeling this time around, I don't know why, because it was happening so quick and so intense, so quick. I was thinking, how am I going to deal with this for 6 hours, say 4 hours, 7 hours? And I was crying to George. I was praying to God. I was like, please, God, don't let this go on for hours, please. So I had my little cry. I was swaying in the water. I was holding on to George. And then all of a sudden, I started feeling I started feeling that I needed to push. So my groaning, like my moaning, started becoming like a pushing sound. It's really weird. And then the midwife could obviously probably hear me from the outside. She came in, she goes, do you feel like you need to push? I was so confused because of how fast things were happening. I was like, I don't know if I feel like I need to push. And then when the next one came, I was actually pushing. She goes, you're pushing. I was like, yeah, I am pushing. I feel like I need to push. She goes to me, just listen to your body, do what your body's telling you. And obviously I've had that before. I know how your body just tells you to push. You can't stop it. Even if someone tells you to stop pushing, you cannot stop pushing. So she goes to me, listen to your body and just go with the pain, go with the flow. And that's what I was doing. And then I remember telling George, how am I going to push her out? And it's so weird to say that when you've had other kids, 3 other kids, to feel that you don't know how you're going to push the baby out. Because you can feel like down below opening and stretching. You're like, oh, like that pain, that ring of fire, as they say. But in the water, it's not as bad because you're not really dry down there because you're in the water. But you can still feel that. So I was pushing her. And they're like, yes, you're pushing. Like, you're ready to push. I was like, what is going on? Like, I was just, only not long came in. And you told me I was like 1 centimeter dilated to now I'm fully dilated and ready to put, like, I'm pushing. Anyway, so I was pushing and pushing, a couple of pushes, and baby girl was out, and her head came out with her sac. So the sac didn't pop until so as they explained it to me, because obviously I couldn't see, George was this way, but he could see like from my shoulders down, and have the mirror down below, so the midwife can see. So as the baby's head was coming out, she still had the sac over her head until like her whole neck was out. She was in a sac. And then when I pushed for her shoulders to come out, it was so bizarre. The midwives were laughing. Her head was out. As soon as I was pushing for her shoulders to come out, one arm popped out and she popped the waters. So she came out looking like Superman, they said. That's how she came out. And I'm so upset that this pandemic happened because I didn't have another person to film all of this for me, which is so sad, because George was obviously holding my hand, so he couldn't really do anything. So she came out like Superman, and that's what popped the sac. So she could have maybe even been born with the sac. Like, that would have been so special. But she eventually popped it with her hand popping out, and then she eventually pops out into the water, and I hear the midwife saying, she's coming in front of you underneath, she's coming, grab her. And I just looked down and I see a baby just floating beneath my feet in the water, and I just grabbed her, like her eyes were like open. I just grabbed her and I was like, oh my gosh, like she's here, like it was just so quick, so magical. I cannot believe it. Like, till this day I'm just so shocked. They said from like the active labor to the end, it was an hour long. And it is true, like, I felt like it was really fast. Like, towards the end, I was in panic. I was thinking, because everything was happening so fast, I panicked. And she was here. She was finally here. It was just so nice to just see her floating and then just grabbing her. And just to see her little face. and she did poop while she came out. The good thing is she came out and then the poop came out into the water, which is a good sign. But because that happened, for them to be extra sure that she didn't swallow anything, even though the midwife was certain, the way she saw things, she was certain that she didn't really swallow anything, but they have to check the baby. So when she was born, you know, they did all the checks and everything. George finally cut the cord. With all the other three, he didn't cut the cord because he was yacked out, like he found it gruesome. And this time the midwife was like, come on, you have to do it this time round. And he did, he cut it. I watched it, I was like, ooh. But it was just so special for him to do it. Again, no one took a picture of it. It was just so sad that we couldn't document those special bits. But it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter. So he did that. And oh yeah, and because she pooped, we were, rather than leave after a natural birth that hasn't had any complications, usually after 6 hours in hospital, you are discharged. But because Angelina pooped when she was delivered, we had to be observed, well, she had to be observed for 12 hours. So she was born at 3:30 in the morning and we were discharged around 4:30 in the evening, 5 maybe, because they had to do all her checks. Every 2 hours they had to check her temperature. What else? I forgot. They had to just, every 2 hourly, they had to check her. They checked me a couple of times. They had to take my blood as well because during pregnancy I had a very low iron. So I was on a lot of tablets during my pregnancy for my iron. So they had to take my blood to double check that, you know, my iron levels were good, which was fine. They also did the COVID test. If you haven't had the coronavirus test, let me tell you one thing. They need to create a new test because it is horrible. Horrible. I thought I was going to puke. I got hot flashes. My eyes were running. So they take a long swab. You have to open your mouth. And the nurse, the midwife, went in. They pass your tonsils. So that swab, that one swab, yeah, has to touch the back of your throat, and my gagging reflex is like, and she felt sorry for me. She goes, I know I've done it 3 times myself. I don't know how it feels. Like, how can you do this? And I just try my best not to puke or anything because then I have to do it again. So she attempted 3 times. On the 3rd time, she managed to go in the back without me. I was trying to hold my breath. And then with that same swab, guys, they go into your nose. That same swab that went into your mouth goes up into your nose. That was uncomfortable as well. It's like, it feels like she's going up into your brain. It goes right far up there with the same swab. And then they put it into this fluid thing and they send it off, which was, everything was fine. But because you're in hospital, you need to be tested just in case you go home and you have coronavirus, God forbid. So they do that, which is the most horrible test ever. They need to, whoever's watching who's into med, whatever, they need to create a new test where it's just a saliva from inside your mouth here, not going through into down deep into your throat and up into your brain. So anyway, observations were happening. I'm going to add a few clips because I have a little clip where I filmed myself talking, and then George changing the baby. So I add a few clips here and there. So yeah, observations went well. Got discharge letters. All her checks were fine. Then we were discharged, and I'll add a clip here as well where my sister-in-law was at home with the kids and my mum and her little boy, and she filmed us arriving home. I looked terrible, guys. I just had the baby, so I was drained. I looked pale. I just looked very sick, but I just popped the baby out my vagina, you know. I would like to say the V word, the VJJ. It's, you know, it's natural. But so yeah. So she filmed that.
What's happening?
The baby's in the car.
was just so magical. And it's true, if you do have more children, it can happen very fast. Now believe them. I go to the midwife, I can't believe how fast it happened. She goes to me, yeah, like a lot of women, the more children they have, the faster it happens. I go, so yeah, but I thought my luck, it wouldn't happen. So thankfully we did leave the house when we did. Even though I believe that the last sweep, when she went in, kind of maybe triggered it a lot faster maybe. But she goes to me, she would have come fast anyway, because like, yeah, it was just, I can't believe from 1 centimeter an hour before, say, to fully dilated, and out she came with a couple of pushes. Like, I'm still sat here today gobsmacked. Like, my first was traumatic. The second was 4.5 hours long, but severe urine infection after. My third, 6.5 hours labor. And then I had a severe case of myositis and needed an emergency breast op. But obviously I had issues before having the baby, and then the milk production created this severe case of myositis. Long story, had an emergency breast op. I was really sick, could have died as well. And it was a very long 8-week recovery. And I thought, oh my God, I was praying to God that this time around would be faster and no complications later on. And I praise the Lord above that not only was it a fast labor, up until now, thank the Lord, no complications with myself, or thank God with the baby. And I'm still praying because it's still early. I'm still scared because of everything that's happened before in the past. I have fear, I have anxiety, and I'm still very anxious. So yeah, very anxious still. So, you know, I don't want to jinx anything, but everything is good so far. And I just want to share my amazing experience, how fast it was, how well we are. Today is Wednesday, the 9th, I think. Can't remember. And then Friday she'll be 3 weeks old, 3 weeks postpartum. Can't believe how time's flying. But yeah, I hope I didn't miss anything out. Baby girl's crying. 1 minute. She just woke up from her little nap. Her little spiky hair. When we wash it, it curls, but then when it dries, it straightens. I don't know if she's gonna have curly hair or just curly ends, because my son has straight hair. My first son had like wavish curly hair, and my daughter had curly ends. So she had curly hair, but then the new hair was straight and she had curly ends. So I don't know if that's going to be the same, but yeah, she's so cute. So cute. And oh yeah, so she was born 3:30 a.m. 21st of August 2020, weighing 7 pounds 9 ounces. Her length, I can't remember. I need to check the book. I can't remember her length, but she's quite long. So yeah, my other miracle child, like after Angelo, conceiving a hair-free child is a miracle for us. Because obviously we have the same 40 gene, me and my husband. And it's a long journey from conception up until birth. It's a journey for us, but thanks to the Lord, He has helped us and He has guided us and He has blessed us. So never give up and always have faith, because that does help. And sorry for this video being so long, but I try and remember to put everything in and stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this labor and delivery video. I don't know what my next video is going to be, guys, but I'll make sure it's kind of interesting. Don't know if it's going to be a vlog or a makeup related one, but I'll see you guys in my next video. Please subscribe, give it a big thumbs up if you found it interesting or if you liked it, and leave any positive comments down below. Love you guys so much. Bye.